Hi, I am River Lightbearer, and welcome to my page and welcome to my Facebook Live. Um, I'm going live today to talk about Chios energy healing and explain a little bit about what energy healing is, what Chios is, why Chios is. Um, so I'm really excited to talk with you guys about this because Chios is something that I have been practicing and teaching for a long time, 14, 15 years. Wow, it's 2021. Thank goodness. So I'm really excited to talk about it. I'm going to wait a minute or two before I get started just so I can kind of keep an eye on whether people are popping in and whether people are asking questions. If you are watching live and you post a comment, I cannot promise that I will see it while I am talking because sometimes Facebook doesn't let me see comments on my lives as they pop up. But I will do my best, and if you leave a comment and you're watching live, I will answer it after I shut off the live. If you are watching on the replay and you want to ask a question or make a comment, please do so. And if you would put the hashtag replay, that would be awesome because then I would know, when you're seeing this. But anyway, the reason that I am doing this live today is that as I said, I teach Chios energy healing as well as being a practitioner. And for the past year and a half almost, I have not been accepting students. And that was mainly because I realized that in the way I was presenting it, I was not effectively serving the students who had signed on with me. They were learning, but I wasn't supporting them in the way that I wanted to. So I took some time off from offering the instruction so that I could reconfigure how I was doing it. And I have reconfigured it, and I'm really excited about how I'm planning to present this instruction. And so I wanted to share with you all what Chios is and why I teach it. And, if you want to find out more about why you might be interested in learning it, then this is the video for you. Chios energy healing is one of a number of energy healing modalities, types of energy healing that people practice. Energy healing in general has existed for thousands of years. People realized pretty early on in human evolution that not only do we have the body that you can see and we have the mind that's in here, but we also have an energy system. And that energy system consists of 7 major energy centers or chakras. The word chakra is a Sanskrit word. A lot of the basics of energy healing were first interpreted and developed in what is now India. And that was the language that was spoken there at the time. So 7 major energy centers or chakras, and an energy field or aura, which consists of 7 layers, and each layer corresponds with one of the chakras. A little bit of a note, I do use the word chakra because that is how I was taught. If you are watching this and you are somebody who is of the cultural background that the word chakra comes from, and you believe that I am being culturally appropriative, please call me on it, because I do want to learn what terms are and are not okay to use it. I have been told by other white people that I am being appropriative, and I do take that into consideration. But I prefer, I've been told by people who are of the same background as the word chakras that it's not appropriative for me to use it. So, I want to hear from you what you think on that. Um, and I don't get offended if somebody says you shouldn't be using that word. I because I want to learn. I recognize that I come from a place of privilege because of the color of my skin, and I want to not be trampling my privilege over other people. So anyway, back to the actual topic at hand. Um, so the idea behind energy healing is that your mind, your body, and your energy all affect each other. They're completely intertwined. There's no way to affect one without affecting the others. And so, because of that, if you receive a physical injury, it's going to cause effects on your mind and your emotions. It's also going to cause an effect on your energy system. It might leave a hole in your energy field above where the injury is, for example. So, by treating the energy system, you can improve overall health and well-being in the mind and body as well. And that's why energy healing is a thing. Now, this is where I put my usual disclaimer. Energy healing is not a substitute for medical or mental health services. It is not intended to cure illness or disease or cure injuries. It's a supplement. And it is a supplement that science is starting to understand and see benefit from, but it's still a supplement. I'm always very careful to tell my clients and students, continue with medical and mental health services you're receiving. Listen to your doctor. This isn't some magic thing that's going to make you all better. And that's not the intention of it. And I would be highly unethical if I said otherwise, particularly since I am not a licensed professional. I am a certified energy healing practitioner and teacher, certified by the Chios Institute, but I'm not a licensed professional, and my certification in Chios is from Chios. Ethics are a huge part of doing this practice for me, and I do discuss ethics when I teach energy healing as well, because I want to make sure that if I'm certifying students to practice and teach this modality, that I'm teaching them to do it in a way that is ethical. So the idea of energy healing in general developed starting thousands of years ago as a way to improve mind and body through improving the functioning and the state of your energy system. The form of energy healing that is most commonly known is Reiki, and that's far from the only one, but Reiki is becoming almost mainstream. I have a friend who lost someone to cancer, and in her cancer treatment center, they had Reiki practitioners coming in as volunteers to work with the patients. And even though they were there as volunteers, it was sanctioned by the hospital. So it is becoming something that even the medical profession and the mental health profession are starting to take note of. I know a number of mental health professionals who are also trained energy healers and use that in their practices. I have heard of one or two medical doctors who also use energy healing when their patients consent to help, but I don't know them personally, so I'm second or third hand information here. But anyway, Reiki is becoming fairly well known in the mainstream. Obviously, not everybody has heard of it. And this is another case of I might have blinders on, because energy healing has been such a huge part of my life that I tend to encounter other people who have heard of it. So not everybody has. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this video, is to give a really quick introduction to energy healing in general, as well as to what I do. So many people have heard of Reiki. People may have heard of other modalities such as healing touch. Trying to remember other ones. And other types of work, like EFT tapping, isn't necessarily energy healing, but it does work with your energy as well as other things. Acupuncture works with your energy as well as, the physical act of inserting the needles. So a lot of the more holistic approaches do involve energy. Chios as a modality was brought to the attention of Stephen Barrett by a collective of beings, a collective of guides. And over the course of, I forget how many years, probably should have looked that up, he worked with the techniques that the collective gave him. He improved them. He tried them out with other human beings. He didn't just say, oh, okay, y'all are guides, so what you tell me must be absolutely correct. He said, okay, that sounds really good. Let me try it. Let me tweak it. Let me improve it. And so he did that over the course of a number of years before he actually introduced Chios generally. The first Chios practitioners and instructors were trained directly by him, and that was in around the year 2000. I, again, can't remember the exact year, and I'm not sure I've ever actually known the exact year. But around the year 2000 was when Chios was more publicly introduced. It's not a modality that is big and broadcast widely, and that's intentional because Stephen Barrett, as I understand it, didn't want it to become watered down by too many people putting their own spin on it. So when you receive a Chios session from a practitioner, when you receive Chios instruction from a Certified Chios Master Teacher, you're receiving it as it was brought to Stephen Barrett and as it was developed by him. It's not watered down. There's not various paths of Chios. Chios is Chios. And I've spoken with a number of people who think that it must be a brand new thing, and even some who think that I made it up because it's not so widely spoken of. But as I said, there is a reason why it's not widely spoken of, and it's been around for over 2 decades now. I received instruction from someone who received instruction from someone who received it directly from Stephen Barrett. And I actually had the privilege of working with Stephen Barrett recently to receive the certification of Chios Master of Healing Consciousness, which is the top level, and which is not something that I am allowed to teach because it is intended to only be taught by him. So instruction with me would grant you Certified Chios Master Teacher status if you go through all the levels. I got into Chios because in 2005, my life was not a pleasant thing to be living. And I became friends with someone who, we bonded over writing because we were both writers who had not yet been published at that time. And as our friendship developed, we talked more about other things like energy healing and channeling, which were things that I'd kind of sort of maybe heard a little bit about, but didn't really understand. And yet at the same time, they resonated to me. I'm a trauma survivor. And at the time that I became friends with this person, I was dealing with ongoing trauma in my present time life at that point. But I was also dealing with resurfacing of traumatic memories from my childhood. And it was difficult. It was difficult trying to heal from past trauma while I was living in present trauma. It was difficult to deal with either while I was trying to be an effective parent for my children. And in talking with my friend about this, he said, I would love to do a Chios session with you. I think it might help. And I, of course, said, what is Chios? And he explained it similarly to how I just did. And he said, if we do this, you might have more memories coming up. You might have emotions coming up. And I'm here to support you. But I think this is really going to make a difference for you. And I was scared. I was scared because I didn't know what was going to happen. I was scared because when you do an in-person Chios session, it is a hands-on thing. And at that time, I really could barely tolerate being touched by my children, let alone anyone else. But I felt very strongly that I needed to try this. And so I had the session, and so much came up, which was hard, but because it came up, I was able to address it finally. I was able to say, yes, these things happened, and I was able to deal with them. And I am so thankful that my friend did support me through that, because at the time, getting therapy was not available to me. But my friend was very supportive, and we continued working with Chios. And I said, this can help so many people. I really want to learn it. And he said, no, you really need to learn it. And he was right. I did. So, and he offered to teach me because he was a certified Chios Master Teacher as well. So he started teaching me. And it wasn't always easy because I had to find people to practice with, and my friend wanted me to do Chios sessions with him, and that was scary because he knew what he was doing and I didn't think I knew what I was doing. But I needed to learn it. I seized onto that modality. It felt so resonant for me that it wasn't even like I was learning something new. It was more like I was being given recollection of something that I had known my entire life. And honestly, I think I had to some extent, because I distinctly remember when I was very little, preschool, kindergarten age, I would get an injury, like I would bump my arm really hard or something. I was not very coordinated as a child. And I discovered and I don't remember how or why I discovered it, but I discovered that if something really hurt and I put my hand on it, my hand would get warm and the pain would get less. That's basic energy healing right there, and I was doing it for myself at age 4 or 5. So when I started learning Chios, it was like, oh, I know this. I remember now. And I was remembering something that I hadn't ever been taught before. But it was just such a strong pull for me. So I went from never having heard of Chios to going through all 3 levels of instruction to Certified Chios Master Teacher within about 6 months, because it pulled me so strongly that I just kept working at it. And after that, I started doing Chios sessions for private clients. I did Chios sessions at a couple of stores in Portland, Maine, near where I was living at the time. And I loved doing it so much, because even though the clients that I saw in stores, generally I would see them once and never again, but I could see the difference that it was making for them, and they would tell me the difference that it was making for them. Chios, again, isn't meant to cure things. It's not going to cure trauma. It's not going to cure illness, but it does help. It helps to shift your energy so that your mind and body can better deal with what it's dealing with. And for me personally, as I said, a lot of memories of past traumas came up, but that was a beneficial thing for me, because you can't heal what you don't know is there. And having the energy work done shifted the way I looked at myself, shifted the way I thought about myself and my past, so that I was willing to do the work to progress on that healing journey. And I mean, I could sit here and be all gushy and like, Chios is wonderful, it's so wonderful. For me, it is. For clients that I've worked with, it has been. I want to be clear, it's not for everybody. Chios isn't for everybody, just like Reiki isn't for everybody, healing touch isn't for everybody. One of the reasons there are so many modalities of energy healing is because nothing works for everyone. I have had clients and students come to me saying, you know, I tried Reiki and it just wasn't it for me. It didn't resonate. It didn't fit me, but Chios feels like such a fit. I've also had people come to me and say, you know, Chios doesn't feel like a fit. Reiki is what really pulls me. No modality is better or worse than any other. And I'm not going to sit here and say Chios is superior, because it's not. It's just different. Reiki is different. Healing touch is different. EFT is different. For me, Chios is what works. I have experienced a Reiki session that I felt no difference from, and that may have been a case of not being aligned with the practitioner. I don't know. But I do know that for me, Chios really resonates. I've tried to learn Reiki, and my brain literally will not hold on to the information for more than 5 minutes. And that tells me that it's just not the right thing for me to learn. So I chose to learn Chios because of the effect it had for me in helping me on my trauma recovery journey. I chose to learn Chios because I wanted to help people. I chose to learn it because I wanted other people to be able to learn it, because it can make a difference. Any modality of energy healing can make a difference for people. So I offer Chios sessions And right now I'm only doing those by distance because it's still not necessarily the best idea to be face to face with people. Um, and as I said earlier, Chios, when you do it in person, is a hands-on modality. So I'm waiting until I feel more comfortable and until generally things feel more comfortable and safer before I resume offering in-person sessions. I'm in the North Shore of Massachusetts, so I offer in-person sessions at a holistic co-working space not far from me. So that's where I do my in-person sessions. But distance sessions I can do with anyone anywhere. Distance sessions work similarly to an in-person session. In fact, when I do a distance session, I'm literally visualizing the entire process as if the person were in front of me on the massage table. And people that I have done both types of sessions with have told me that the distance session feels just as effective as the in-person. When I do a distance session, I check in with the person over Zoom or Facebook video messenger if they prefer that. And we have a little bit of a consultation, a talk about, why are you seeking energy healing? Why do you feel it will benefit you? And then I do the session and we check in again afterward. And when I do in-person sessions, it's a similar process. We sit down first and have a consultation. They get on the table, I do the techniques, and then we have another consultation at the end. Clients that I've worked with have told me that after a session, they have more clarity about their life path. They have more clarity about situations that they're dealing with. They've told me, I've had people who have chronic pain conditions who have told me that their pain is less after a session. Again, Chios isn't intended to treat chronic pain conditions, but having the work done can help. I even have one client whose blood pressure goes down every time he has a session, which is mainly because he sometimes falls asleep during them. But it has benefit for a lot of people. And even the people who haven't seen that type of benefit have told me they feel a lot more relaxed. They feel calmer. They feel heard and understood. And that's why I do it, because I love providing that for people. When I do Chios instruction, when I do private Chios instruction, I want to make it clear when I'm talking about instruction in this live, I'm talking about one-on-one instruction. I am going to be offering Chios classes as well. I'm in the process of putting together how I'm going to do that and where I'm going to do that. So stay tuned for further information at a later date. But for now, I am resuming offering individual Chios instruction on June 1st. I'm going to open enrollment then. And the instruction with me, you can sign on for just level 1, get a feel for what it's like, or you can sign on for all 3 levels. You can sign on for level 1 and then decide to go on to level 2, whatever works for you. When I do instruction, I will be instructing. We'll meet once or twice a week, depending on the student's preference. And for about an hour, I'll go over the material for that level. Level 1 takes about 4 hours. Level 2 takes about 6 hours. Level 3 takes 8. And I offer the option of doing it once a week or twice a week because some people want to get through it sooner. So we'll go over the material, discuss questions. You get homework assignments, partly because I want to make sure that the students that I'm working with understand the modality, and partly because when you're learning Chios, you really need to practice it with other people. And so by having the meetings spaced out and giving assignments, you have the opportunity to find people around you that you can practice with. They do need to be people that you can practice with in person, hands-on, because distance healing is not something that's even taught until level 3. So for levels 1 and 2, you need to be able to actually be physically with another human being to practice the techniques. But if that's something that isn't possible for a student, I'll discuss it with them and see if we can find a workaround. When you finish level 1, you receive a certificate saying you finished level 1. Level 2 gives you the degree of Certified Chios Healing Practitioner, and that means that you are certified by the Chios Institute through me to practice Chios, to offer sessions to other people. Level 3 is where you learn more advanced techniques, and when you finish level 3, you will be a Certified Chios Master Teacher, which means you receive the actual physical certificate. Again, I send it to you, but it is a Chios Institute certification, and you can have your name, you can opt to have your name posted on the Chios website as a Certified Chios Master Teacher so that other students can find you. Level 1 is the basics of energy healing, some of what I've explained in this video, the basics of the chakras and the energy field, and the very, very basic Chios techniques. Level 2 has more advanced techniques, talks a little bit about adjustments and modifications you might need to make if you have a client with certain health conditions. Even though Chios isn't a medical thing, there are certain health conditions that require some variations to the standard techniques. For example, if somebody has diabetes, instead of starting at their crown chakra like you would do in a standard session, you start at their root chakra. And so level 2 goes into some of those modifications and the reasons for them. And then level 3 has more advanced techniques, including a technique for healing energetic damage from past lives. Not only the past of your current life, but actual past lives. And also teaches you how to teach. In all of the levels, I also go over ethics and offer resources for further study when resources that I know of. And I will help students find other resources if there's questions I can't answer or that the resources I have available don't answer. So I'm really, really excited to start doing Chios sessions again, both by distance and soon, I hope, in person. I'm thrilled to be offering Chios instruction again. If you're interested in having a session, if you're interested in finding out more about instruction, you can go ahead and leave a comment on this video, and I will reply, or I will send you a private message here on Facebook if that's okay with you. Or you can private message me through the Facebook page here, and I will respond to that. When somebody signs on for instruction with me, I do require that they have approximately 30-minute inquiry call with me. I want to make sure that if somebody is interested in learning Chios, I want to make sure that I am the most effective instructor for them, and that they are a student who is aligned with how I think and how I do things. When I say aligned with how I think, I don't mean that we have to think exactly alike on every subject, but there are certain beliefs and thought patterns that just aren't aligned with me. And so the inquiry call is to give you more information about Chios instruction, but also to give us each more information about the other so that we can make sure we're aligned to work together. Because if we're not aligned, you're not going to gain any benefit from the instruction, and that wouldn't be fair to you or to me as the instructor. So if you want to schedule an inquiry call, or you just want to find out a little bit more about what all that involves, as I said, leave a comment here, or you can message me through the Facebook page. And I don't see any questions or comments at this point, so I am going to end this video. But if you have questions, if you have thoughts or comments, if you want more information, please leave a comment. If you're watching it on the replay, hashtag replay, just so I know that you're seeing this later on. And I look forward to talking with you. I look forward to working with students who want to work with me. And yeah, and I will do more videos about this and other things over time. So as I said, stay tuned for more information. Stay tuned for info about Chios classes if you are somebody who prefers to learn in a class environment instead of one-on-one. And meanwhile, take care.